Titan event?
What the hell is even that?
Let's find out together. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. As always, thank you for being here. I'm Vamp. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video, and we're going to be checking out the event known as a Titan event that has just been released into the game. And I am sitting here fumbling with the news, trying to figure out where we get that. It's here. No, it's not. It's here. So this is basically a recap of what's going on right now, I believe. I don't think this is a recap for the whole 2 weeks, but basically we got a boost on chances to pull legendary or epics out of ancient shards right now. Got a champion chase going on, which those two synergize nicely, but you do have to pull a lot of shards usually, unless you get really lucky to get many points in a champion chase. And then you got a 10 times boost for 11 hours. That one is on the Knave of Hearts. Okay, so it is clickable, but it doesn't really take us here. Okay, so that 10 times boost is for this champion right here. Pretty cool champion. Won't go into him at length right now. Mixed opinions, it seems like, in the raid community. I think he looks very cool. Then we got Drop Fever, and that is right now for Spider, I believe. I'm not too pressed about that one or too like thrilled, to be quite frank. It's just demon spawn, so if you really are looking for something for demon spawn, go raid the Spider's Den right now. But then you got, you know, your offers or whatever, and an arena takedown. Arena takedown so easy, pretty much I feel like universally across all account levels. But basically guys, if you were like me, you heard the term Titan event and you're like, I'm not exactly even sure what that is. It's kind of like a big party event, if you will, with a bunch of different events and tournaments. Oh wait, we have things like that. They're called fusions. So it's basically really similar to a fusion in effect, except that you get a different reward. I'm not sure if there have been Titan events where you get a champion as a reward. Actually, wait, no. Didn't they have one like that for Sir Nicholas? Wasn't he a Titan event reward during the Lady Noelle fusion? So that's at least one. I thought there was a Titan event for Armands, but that's just like hearsay. I never verified that. But in this one, there's no champion to be had. But let me see if I can pull up the, how do I get to the whole like where you redeem your rewards? Oh, it's just this. Okay, so it's the main event that just sits there, and other events below it will be a shorter time frame. So this one, you get the Mad Hatter relic right here, Hatter's Reserve, at milestone 2, which is incredibly easy to achieve, but I would definitely say this is the inferior of the two relics that are available. And then at milestone 4, and the cool thing about this is being at milestone 4, you do not need to complete the full event, obviously, as you're seeing here, to get this relic. And it's debatable that this relic is more valuable than the 5-star Hatter Soul, especially for people who didn't get the Mad Hatter. So get to tier 4, get to the top of that for 1,000 points. Seems so reasonable to me for this relic. This is a really good relic. Apparently I can't click on it, which would have been nice because I could have quickly shown you, but it's basically a damage dealer relic, and it's considered really good in the game for players that did not get lucky enough to craft one during the Alice in Wonderland event with the Alice in Wonderland mats. It would be great for your account to try to get your copy from here. I was one of those people. I used all of my royal masks from the event to try to craft an event relic. I don't think I crafted any event relics. I did not craft the Hatter's Reserve either, so I will be going for this. I think this is a really good idea for most accounts. And then dun, 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 here you have some really juicy rewards in my opinion. Just starting out, you have some basalt, which I believe is used in the relic crafting. I'm not sure which one the basalt is for. I might be saying the wrong thing. Starstone is the one for relics, if I remember correctly, but I can tell you these are always nice. Free gear removal, probably the weakest reward on here, but definitely useful for everyone. Primal Shard's awesome. Chaos Powder's great. Eternal Soul Coins are the best soul coin currency you can get with the whole mortal, immortal, whatever souls part of the game. And then rank 5 chicken, best chicken you can get. Barrel's great. 6-star Mythical Chaos Ore is seriously up there on this tier. Mythical Skill Tome is amazing for rewards. And then a 5-star Hatter Perfect Soul, especially considering the fact that a lot of people watching this have probably just finished the fusion for Mad Hatter. That's very, very, very strong. Now, for the account in general, I think the Cascades might be better. And that's because you can put that on anybody on the account. Obviously, the 5-star Hatter Soul can only go on the Hatter. Now, that's going to make a really good champion just that much better. It's almost a max Perfect Soul, but it's up to you if you like the rewards in this tier enough to go for him. He's going to be at 1,500 points. If I remember correctly, I believe that the total rewards you can get based on how many of the, what are they called? teacup points are going to be in events and tournaments is like 1,700 or 1,750. So you do have some room to not do every single thing and still get the Hatter Perfect Soul, but you have to pay attention because events like right now, there's a champion chase tournament. Let's look at it real quick. So this has got 200. So if you skip this, I believe you can still get the Hatter Soul. Definitely check me on this because I'm not exactly sure. These Titan events are fairly new to me. I don't know how to go and look right now on camera for verification of how many points are available. I believe believe I watched a scratch video and he said 1750, but we could say maybe he said 1700 just to be safe. I don't believe it was less than that. So basically, if this is at 200 and there's 1700 or 1750, then in theory, you could skip this if you don't have shards, you just don't really, you're like, I'm not going to fight for the top reward. There's no way, blah, blah, blah. This is just kind of an expensive event where you blow a lot of shards and you don't want to do it. That's fine, but you're going to probably need to do damn near everything else if you want the soul. If you don't want the soul, like I already mentioned before, it's going to be pretty freaking easy to get the Cascades. But anyway, we won't belabor that point any longer. Now let me explain briefly in case anybody legitimately doesn't know. This is going to be very much like a fusion because you're going to be doing tournaments and events, and you're going to be doing the types of things that you would do during a fusion. The one exception being, I have not been present in the game when they had a deck of fate for a fusion, meaning that to complete the fusion, you needed to participate at some level in a deck of fate. I have also not been part of a fusion for a champion where they had an event for pulling mortal, immortal, eternal soul stones, right? The ways that you get blessings for the champions. It seems like both of those things will be a part of this Titan event, and they might actually be tied together. So it seems like there's going to be a deck of fate, and it seems like there's going to be a soul stone event, and it actually might be soul stone event tied to deck of fate where pulling the soul stones gets you the points to flip the cards. Anyway, that's a little bit of a wrinkle compared to just a straight up fusion where you're pretty much just doing, you know, shard events, regular events, and then tournaments. But it's very, very similar, and it can be very grindy in the same way that a fusion is. So be aware of that. But basically, you just want to look. This is kind of the recap, I believe, for what's going on right now. I'm pretty sure like once the boost runs out, it will rotate and there will be something else here. So you could come back here to reference what do you kind of need to be focused on right at that time, that day, that week, whatever. But basically, if you go to the top of events, the Tea Party Titan event, that's the event that you want to keep your eye on, and you want to be looking at redeeming these rewards, and you want to be looking over here where mine says 30 of 1500 because I've been killing it, definitely not slacking. Yeah, anyway, 30 of 1500, absolutely slaying. Check over here and make sure that you're getting enough points so you're kind of staying on track. And then down here in the bottom, right now there's no events apparently, but then there's tournaments, so you can easily click to go to that like this and see, okay, let me look for the ones that have this pink Tea Party Titan event. Those are going to have the teacup points, and then you can come look and see, okay, well, you know, how high are they? How many points do I need to get? How close am I? When does it end? Right here, all those things. So again, as I'm saying it, probably becoming pretty apparent if you've ever done a fusion, that this is very similar to a fusion, but basically you're going to try your best to get as many points as you can, stay on top of it, and get the highest rewards you can. If you want to go for the 5-star perfect soul, you got to do almost everything. If you don't, just get to the amount of points that you want to and then tap out. Perfectly fine. But make sure that you watch both the events and the tournaments, and make sure you watch which ones might potentially overlap, and make sure you watch for time running out, okay? Because I'm pretty bad about that one myself. I'll get started on one, life will happen, and then I'll end up not finishing it, and I was like, dude, I was so close and I just blew that. I put resources into this, you know, ice golem tournament or whatever, and by the end of it, I was this close, no dice, didn't get the reward, didn't get the teacup points, ends up, you know, permanently affecting my chance at getting high in this Titan event. Another thing I will mention that is not a part of fusions as far as I'm aware is that these tournaments so far I'm seeing are turn attack. Now, if you don't know what a turn attack is, a turn attack means that you will get more points the fewer turns you take. It's that simple. But that obviously means that if you have a crazy Kraken team and you can somehow do a boss in, you know, 4 or 5 turns, which some people can, believe it or not, then they're going to get more points per attack. Basically, they're going to spend less energy to get the same amount of points as I will or you will. So if you don't have a particularly fast team, don't think you shouldn't do it. Just be prepared to spend more energy, right? So if you go look at this, Spider's just, you know, I want to be careful what I say. I was going to say it's a very easy dungeon. At a certain point, it's a very easy dungeon as far as it's just a staple, right? Like it's a main dungeon that you farm for silver, for obviously accessories, and then during CVC for really good points. So a lot of people will already be set up with a Spider team. If you're struggling, definitely see what you can do to get a Spider team going, because you don't have to take very few turns to participate in this. It's just going to require more energy for you because it's going to require you to do more runs. But mine is not super fast. I believe mine's like 8 to 11 turns. So like it's fast if you're a new player, but I'm pretty sure there are people that have nukers one-shotting the spiderlings on Spider hard, and therefore they're probably taking 4 to 5 turns. So I'm at 3,000, not too much effort on my part, but trying to get to at least 3,800. The rewards above that, I feel like this goes without saying, but since this is a video about the event, I'll mention it. The rewards above that, it's up to you. Are you sitting pretty on resources and you want to kind of grab that shard and that, what is this, chaos dust? I can't remember. There's like soul dust and chaos dust. I think the purple is the soul dust. But anyway, you don't have to do any of that past 3,800 for this event to get the stuff that you need for the 5-star Hatter Soul. These rewards up here are just bonus, right? So you only really need to make it less than halfway to be where you need to be on each event for the 5-star Hatter Soul, or if you're not going to go for the full event, just to get to the Cascades quicker or whatever, right? So hopefully that makes sense. But then if you look, obviously it's a different level. I can't see that. I've claimed this one, so I can't see the points, but this was like 600 odd points or something like that, and not 3,800, right? So again, this is mostly for the new players who might actually be a little confused at what they're looking at. The thresholds, here you got 3,000, you got one at 1150. They're all different, so you really got to check the events. And if you don't have like a photographic memory, you might have to go back and refer to them. Make sure you stay on top of what time they're ending and where exactly you are in the tiers, again, so you don't miss that reward that you're really like counting on getting. But that's basically it, guys. At this point, go back to your account, check on the events that are up right now, how much time is left, get to work, getting those points. At least get to the points before you stop the event. Once you get to the points, it's up to you if you want to pursue higher rewards or not, and kind of get things underway, because if you don't, this thing's going to sneak by you and you're going to end up trying to throw some points at a couple kind of meh rewards in the lower tiers. If you want the Cascades, get to work, guys. And trust me, I think you want the Cascades. Real quick before I let you guys go, I will actually go and look at, let me see how to get to this real quick. I think it's here. Okay, so event down here, there's only 2 for the Alice in Wonderland event. This is the Cascades. This is what I thought it was, but I didn't want to say it out of turn when I could just come click on it and read it. Where ignores 10% of the target's defense when attacking enemies with higher HP. Obviously, on a boss, that's kind of insane. It's going to be good everywhere. It'd be awesome to ignore 10% of target's defense anywhere in the game. But if you're fighting Hydra, for example, right, or Chimera, ignoring 10% of that defense on the higher difficulties is really a lot of defense. That's a huge amount of defense. And if you have a champion that's already in like Instinct, then they get 30% because they add together the 20% from Instinct, the 10% from this relic. And then if you have them in Savage or Lethal, both of which I believe are 25%, then you're going to have 35% ignore. So don't just think of it like, well, 10%, big deal. It's actually a big deal, first of all, but ignore defense does get better the more defense you're ignoring. So it's better to get a 10% added on to a 25% than it is to just get 10%. And you might be going, well, of course 35 is better than 10, but what my point is that 10% is exponentially better because it's taking you closer to 40% than it is. It's not just worth 10%, is what I'm trying to say. This is a math thing. I'm not great at math, so I'm not great at explaining it, but that's what I'm trying to get at, is that if you have a champion that has 0% ignore defense, this will be good on them. If you have a champion that has 20+% already in their artifacts, on their build, then adding 10% further will give you returns that are much higher than just taking the amount 10% would give and adding it, if that makes sense. I'm going to leave it at that. Math people have fun in the comments roasting me, whatever, but I'm attempting to explain that it is better to get that later 10% than just the initial 10%. So look for putting this on somebody who you already have ignoring defense. Maybe we should have just gone with that from the beginning. But anyway, that's all for me, guys. Just wanted to break down the event. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, leave a comment below. And guys, if you're enjoying the content, I would appreciate it so much if you would consider subscribing. Hit the like button, guys, and drop a comment. I think I've responded to damn near every comment so far, and I plan to keep doing that because I actually like to have the dialogue. I want to see what you guys are looking for. I want to see what you're vibing with. So if you would support the channel as a tiny creator, it would mean the world to me. I would really appreciate it, guys. Until next time, take care, get to work on that Titan event. Happy raiding. I'll see y'all in the next one.